Disney storyboard artist and director Natalie Nourigat describes her book, I Moved to Los Angeles to Work in Animation, as part Autobio Comic and part how-to guide. It's hilarious, emotional, beautifully illustrated, and I now consider it required reading for every aspiring animation professional. Natalie joins me today for a lesson inspired by her book, 4 Ways Animation Artists Can Mentally Prepare for the Move to Los Angeles. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Visual Storytelling Podcast, where I help artists and writers find healthy, fulfilling careers in animation, games, comics, film, and illustration. I'm your host, Chris Oatley. I'm a visual development artist and illustrator, most notably for Disney. And if you want to become a professional visual storyteller like the guests on this show or many of my students, check out my courses and resources at chrisoatley.com. That's chrisoatley.com. Visit chrisoatley.com/think to join my free mini course, You're a Better Artist Than You Think You Are. How to improve quickly without ever picking up a pencil. Again, join the notification list at chrisoatley.com/think, and I will follow up via email when the next session opens. Tip number 1. Step up to the mic. In the following segment, Natalie tells a version of her origin story that focuses on a single significant decision. The decision to confront her own fear of failure and actually tell people about her dream of working in animation. Is it finally time for you to share your dream with people you love and trust? Or if you're lucky enough to have realized one dream already, maybe it's time to share something even more ambitious. The point is, speak up. Whether it's time to invite help or offer it, speak up. Here's Natalie.
I grew up in Portland. It's a great city, lots of artists there. There are art jobs there. And I had the dream of working in animation when I was younger, but gave up on it because I didn't know anybody who did that. I didn't go to a school for art or animation. And once I found out what the good schools were and where you were, quote unquote, supposed to go, I felt like it was too late for me. I had already spent 3 years at a state school. I had no funds left for further art school.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's it. It's over. You don't need a degree to do comics, so I'll do that. I love comics and still love comics. I miss comics sometimes.
Yeah.
I was a comic book artist for about 5 years after college, but I saw a lot of comic artists that I knew in their late 20s, early 30s, taking jobs down in LA and reporting back that life was pretty great there. They had health insurance and salaries, and they were buying houses, and they knew that they were going to be employed 6 months later. And then this desire to work in animation reignited itself when I thought maybe it actually could be possible. Then I was like, oh, wait, is that still an option? Well, I hid that desire for a long time because I was sure I was going to fail, and I didn't want anybody to know that I was trying to do something that I would probably fail at. So I didn't tell anybody that I wanted to work in animation for a long time. And that was a big mistake because I think once I admitted it, once I said it out loud and told people that mattered to me and that was something I was trying to do, they were like, oh, well, I can help with that.
Right.
Connecting with people and resources and giving me more relevant critiques to my work. And it actually ended up happening pretty quickly after I admitted it out loud. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's possible. I'll probably fail a lot, but I want to work in animation. And a few months after saying that, I got my first freelance gig on Being Puppy Cat. And a few months after that, I was doing story tests and had submitted to Loop de Loop and finally got this training position at Disney Feature in storyboarding. And that was what convinced me to take the leap and move down here. Even though it was a 3-month contract, I bought a car and rented an apartment and was like, well, I am in it now. I'd better make it work.
Tip number 2. Keep track of multiple storylines. While there is no right way to plan a move to Los Angeles, it's amazing to me how many people move out here with no plan at all. One of the most effective planning strategies is one you can implement right now. Collect stories. Collect stories from the successful creative professionals who made the move and made it work. Natalie's book and the decade-long archive for this podcast are great places to start. But wherever you search, keep in mind that stories can do more than inspire. They inform and support and apply.
As I was going through that first year in LA that was really difficult, I was taking notes on everything, just kind of in the back of my mind, what was happening, how I felt about it, and how would I turn this into a comic? Like, maybe this is nothing, maybe this is something. I self-published it first. I put it online as a PDF. And I feel like that was the biggest response to any comic I've ever done at a publisher or independently or online. Because I think just the topic interests people, and it picked up steam in press, which was really nice. I reached out about print options, and Boom was interested, and I've worked with them before. Shannon Waters over there is awesome, and she pitched me a couple of her ideas for ways to improve the book from the PDF version to the print version, and I just thought she had great ideas.
Wow.
And joined them as a partner for the print version.
And what were some of the changes that you worked on with Shannon?
She said she really liked the book, but one pitfall that I couldn't fix alone is that it is one person's perspective. And that's not a great way to tell somebody what the whole reality is, right? And I say that up front, it's one person's perspective, but she said, why not interview other people for the back of the book? Add a new chapter.
It's great.
Get those other perspectives. And she was right on the money. She was so right.
Yeah, that whole section is just a treasure trove. And your caricatures of everybody. Oh, it's so good.
I would like to say, if you have read the book and you think, I have a different experience, or I have something to add to this, or, I am international and you don't talk about coming to the U.S. at all, which is true because I'm not an expert on that. I want to read your book, and I'm not being sassy. I'm being sincere.
Yeah.
I really want to read your book. So if you think that there's more to add to this story, which I 100% believe there is, do your own I moved to LA, tell your story and get it out there because it can help people. We need so many more data points than one to be able to know what to expect coming here.
Tip number 3, buy some rose-colored sunglasses. Los Angeles is still the most viable location for launching a career in animation, so you might land here whether you like it or not. I've grown to love it, but it's not always easy to love. In the following segment, Natalie shares some balanced perspective for those who find LA overwhelming.
I think LA feels out of reach for a lot of people. If you grow up around LA or around entertainment or in California, maybe that sounds weird, but if you grew up far away from it, it can seem like this mystical far-off land and really unreachable, right? And I think people responded to seeing what's the reality, what's the everyday life, what are some of the mundane details about living there, what were your expectations, and then the reality, how did it differ? Because I think the move is scarier than the industry for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it?
I think so.
What do you say to these folks who are intimidated by the city in the clouds that is Los Angeles?
It's growing on me, but I try to be honest and talk about things I like and things that I don't like.
Yeah.
Because I hate for somebody to get, the sugar-coated version and then show up here and be like, Natalie, you said it was nice.
Right.
I'm miserable.
So hot.
Yeah, it's hot. There's not as much nature as I'm used to.
Yeah. Trees.
There's a lot of exactly. There's a ton of concrete.
Yeah.
Barbed wire, broken streets. You have to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
There's traffic and smog. But there's also a beautiful coast.
Yeah.
Beautiful desert, mountains, national parks within driving distance, weekend getaways. The entertainment capital of the world. You can go out and see A-list comedians for $5 on a Friday night. Any food from any culture you could possibly want, you can find it here, and it's good. So there's good and bad, and I try to listen to what they're worried about and what matters to them, and then be honest with them. So it's ultimately up to them, but I hope people don't write it off just because it seems difficult or far away. I hope that they give it a serious chance.
Tip number 4, and action. There's a specific combination of decisiveness and focus that I call boldness. Boldness isn't self-destructive, it's neither impulsive nor pretentious, nor is it passive, and it is essential to a long, successful career in the LA animation scene. When I first moved out, I work at coffee shops all the time, like everyone in Los Angeles does, which is why it's so hard to get a table. And you walk into the coffee shop and there are all these laptops out and they all have Final Draft open and everyone's working on a screenplay. And
it's surreal. You think you're being punked or something. It's like this very...
It doesn't seem real, but it is real. And I was really inspired by that. I loved that. I was like, oh my God, this is what I do back in the Midwest, but I'm the only one. I remember sharing this with somebody. I don't remember who it was, but how are you liking Los Angeles? Oh, this is great. I was at the coffee shop the other day. This came in and I was, everybody's on their laptop. That was the Final Draft. It made me feel sane and like I found a place where I belong. And they were like, oh yeah, you'll get over that. It's, the bunch of people are just amateurs and wannabes and blah, blah, blah.
Aww.
And I was just like, here's the thing. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not, depending on the individual, but people move to Los Angeles because they're pursuing a dream, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, some people move for different reasons, but all those people with the Final Draft open in the coffee shop, they made a decision in their lives to change the status quo and go try to be creative for a living. And most people don't do that. Most people just abide the job that they hate, right? They abide the town that feels like it's this soul-sucking, kind of unfulfilling experience. People, I hear from people all the time who are in that environment and they're trying to make the leap. And I don't know how you don't applaud and admire that, right? Because you gotta try, you gotta try. I'm not prescribing recklessness. I'm not prescribing thoughtlessness.
Yeah.
It would always be assumed that your actions have consequences, right? That your actions affect the people who love you.
Yeah. I've met a lot of people who are married with kids and they are like, I think it's just going to take a little bit longer for me because I have all these other considerations, but I'm so inspired by them being able to handle all of that responsibility and pursue this dream. That's so incredible. I can't imagine.
Damon Lindelof, I heard him say one time at a panel I was attending, and he said, that's the thing about a career in entertainment. You have to be willing to make bold moves when you see an opportunity.
Scary.
Yeah, it is. It can be terrifying. And I think it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I understand why people don't do it. But that said, people in animation generally want you to win. They want you to do well. And you even talk about that in the book. People want to promote you and want to see you succeed. I didn't have negative suspicions about working in animation, but I certainly was overwhelmed by how helpful everyone is.
Same here. I hear that 100%. I was like, well, I wasn't expecting everybody to be like backstabbing and everything, but I kind of wasn't expecting them to be this nice and supportive of other artists.
And people make it happen, right? When you work in animation, you learn that people break in all the time. And, here I was out in the Midwest thinking, They hire 4 people a year, and it's like, no, people are, and especially right now, it's a great time to be breaking into animation,
gosh.
With
It
streaming
is.
and everything.
Apply to everything. Everything. There are not enough artists right now for the jobs. It's nuts.
Yeah, it is absolutely bonkers. I haven't seen, in my entire career, I don't think I've seen a sort of hiring frenzy like this. I've seen ones that were similar, but this is massive. And so anyway, yeah, people do it. That's the thing. People do it.
If this is your dream and you feel like you're too old or you didn't go to the right school or it's just too hard, I just want to say that I believe in you and I hope that you keep pursuing it, and only you know what's right for you. But if this is your dream, don't count yourself out of it. However long it takes, it's just a matter of time.
Natalie is at Tallychick with a Y. That's TALLYCHYCK on Instagram. And I'm at Chris Oatley. Visit chrisoatley.com/LA to get the transcript and images for today's lesson, and also a bonus clip where Natalie talks about the differences between comics and animation storyboards. If you like today's lesson, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe. Visit chrisoatley.com/think to join my free mini course, You're a Better Artist Than You Think You Are, How to Improve Quickly Without Ever Picking Up a Pencil. Join the notification list at that link, chrisoatley.com/think, and I'll follow up via email when the next session opens. Until next time, my friends, remember, there are no bold results without bold decisions.